Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Caritamrta class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are continuing our discussion from Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila. We are on 25th chapter entitled The 64 Explanations of Atmaram Verse. So far we have heard Mahaprabhu after he explained Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was so very overwhelmed, and then he expressed a desire to hear about the wonderful explanations of Atmaram verse, which Mahaprabhu spoke to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Mahaprabhu said, actually, I don't remember what I spoke because I spoke something in madness, and Sarvabhauma is another madman. So I am a madman, he is a madman, so he took my word seriously. Prabhu kahe am batul amara vachane, Sarvabhaum batul taha satya parimane. So Sarvabhaum took it seriously. I don't remember what I said, but by your association, something will come. Mahaprabhu starts explaining. First, he explained the 11 words of this verse. Atmarama cha munaya nirgrantha api purukrame purvanti ahetati bhakti itham bhuta guna harihi. So he explained many meanings of each word, and then he started explaining some other verses, words which support this explanation of Atmaram verse. And then he started explaining the actual meaning of these verses, these words in the verse. And now, today onwards, today we'll see Mahaprabhu starts explaining the meaning of Atmaram verse. First, he gives 7 explanations of Atmaram verse based on the worshippers of Jnana Marga. There are 2 types of worshippers of Jnana Marga. One is Brahma Upasaka and Moksha Akankshi. Brahma Upasak means the worshippers of impersonal Brahman. And Moksha Akankshi means one who desires liberation. There are 3 types of people who are Brahma Upasak: Sadhak, Brahmamay, and Prapta Brahma Lay. So Prapta Brahma. Sadhak means he is the beginner in this path of Brahma Upasana. Then Brahmamay. This person, his thoughts are absorbed in Brahman. He has not achieved yet, but his thoughts are absorbed. So first is he's a beginner, he has just started. Second, his thoughts are absorbed in Brahman. And third is Prapta Brahma. Third is a person who is actually liberated, who is actually merged in Brahman, Prapta Brahma. And then Mahaprabhu gives a very important understanding. He says, without devotional service, nobody can achieve mukti. भक्ति बिना केवल ज्ञाने मुक्ति नहीं होय, भक्ति साधन करे प्राप्त ब्रह्मलोय. Bhakti Vina Keval Jnani. Keval Jnani means if the knowledge of Brahman is without the understanding of Bhakti, of God, that is called as Keval Jnana. There are three types of Jnana: Atma Jnana, Ishwar Jnana, and Keval Jnana. Atma Jnana means knowledge of Atma. Ishwar Jnana means knowledge of Bhagavan. And Keval Jnana means knowledge of impersonal Brahman without adding Bhakti. Kevala, without any devotion. So Mahaprabhu says, Bhakti Vina Keval Jnane Mukti Nahi Hoy. One cannot attain liberation simply by philosophical speculation, which is devoid of devotional service. Sadhana, Bhakti Sadhana Kore Prapta Brahmaloy. If one adds this devotional service, then he automatically achieves the platform of Brahman. One does not have to endeavor separately to become liberated. Just by practicing pure devotional service, one is automatically liberated. A devotee is automatically liberated. Ihayasya hareerdasya karmana manasagira nikhilashvapi avasthasu jivan mukta sauchyate. He is already a liberated soul. Characteristically, Mahaprabhu says, one in devotional service is never attracted to impersonal Brahman. He is completely distasteful. His Brahman Mukti is not at all desirable. And why it is undesirable? Because he is getting the bliss of serving the Lord. Yanirvritistanuvritam tavapada padma dhyanad bhavajjanakatha shravanena vasyat sa brahmani swamahimanya nathamabhut yam tvantakasi lulita papatam vimanat. Dhruv Maharaj, he offers his prayer. He says, "Oh my Lord, the happiness which I am deriving in two things: Tava Pad Padma Dhyan and Bhavat Jana Katha Shravan. Meditating on your lotus feet and hearing about you from your devotees. That happiness cannot compare to Brahman. Sa Brahmani. What to speak of then Swargananda? If Brahmananda is insignificant, what to speak of Swargananda? And then Jadananda, the bliss of this world, it is completely insignificant. It is not in question also. So therefore, the happiness of service, serving the Supreme Lord is unlimited. So a devotee is not at all interested in impersonal Brahman because service is not there. Salokya, Sarishti, Samitya, Sarupya, Aikatvam, Apyuta, Diyamanam, Na Grihananti, Vinamat, Sevanam Jana. Kapil Devi tells to his mother, "Oh mother, my devotee is not interested in any type of liberation if service is not there." Mahaprabhu continues, when a devotee gets spiritual body, then he automatically remembers the qualities of Krishna, characteristics of Krishna, and he's attracted to those qualities. He wants to serve Krishna. Prabhupada writes, even though the impersonal worshipper of impersonal Brahman can be very advanced, but without adding bhakti, he will not be liberated. He may become very advanced impersonal Brahman worshipper, but success will be achieved only by adding bhakti. Because anybody who has realized this, they are sure to practice devotional service. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kamshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. An impersonal Brahman worshipper, after he realizes Brahman, by addition of bhakti, he is naturally attracted to the path of bhakti yoga. And then at that state, he is completely purified. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. When one is completely purified, sarva upadhi vinirmuktam, and is completely purified of all the upadhis, designations, in that state, Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. He serves the Lord. Even a liberated soul is attracted to Krishna. A liberated soul who is already merged in Brahman, he is also liberated to Krishna. He installs the deity and renders devotional service. Mahaprabhu gives example of Shukadeva Goswami. He gives the example of four Kumaras. They were absorbed in Brahman. Shukadeva Goswami, the story comes in the first canto of Bhagavatam. Tasya putro mahayogi samdrin nirvikalpaka ekant mati unnidro gudho mudha iveyate. He was absorbed in Brahman. He would look as if he's dull, but he was absorbed in Brahman. Parinishthitopi nairgunye. He himself tells Parikshit Maharaj that I was absorbed in Brahman. Grihita cheta parinishthitopi nairgunye uttama shloka lilaya grihita cheta rajarshe akyanam tad adhitvan. When I heard the glories of Krishna from the great devotees, my mind was attracted to Krishna. Four Kumaras, they were absorbed in Brahman. And when they had a desire that we want to see Krishna, we want to see the Lord, we have heard about him, we are meditating on him always in our hearts. We want to see. They went to Vaikuntha. They passed through all the 6 gates, 7th gate, Jai Vijay. They stopped them. Ultimately, there was a huge debate, argument, cursing. Lord came out to save his devotees so that four Kumaras should not curse them more. As the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord, which is mixed with saffron and tulasi, entered the nostrils of four Kumaras, they became agitated with feelings of devotion. Although the Brahma Upasaka, Jnanis, they have no emotions. Their emotions are very less. They are completely detached, and that jnana makes one hard-hearted. That's the innate quality of jnana. But when they smelled the aroma, tasyaravinda nayanasya padaravinda hinjalka mishra tulasi makaranda vayuhu antargata swavivarena chakara tesham sanshobhamaksharajusham api chitta tanavoh. Sanshobham, they became agitated with feelings of devotion. That's how four Kumaras, they got attracted. By the mercy of Vyasdev, Shukdev Goswami got attracted. Hare Gunashipmati Bhagavan Badarayani Adhyagan Mahadakhyanam Nityam Vishnu Janapriya. Shukdev Goswami became attracted by hearing the stories and pastimes of Krishna. Another example is given of Navayogendras. The Navayogendra were the sons of Bharat Maharaj. They were also liberated. They were absorbed in impersonal Brahman from the beginning of their birth. They completely renounced the world from the beginning of their life. But when they heard the qualities of Krishna from Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, from Narada, they became devotees of Krishna. And Mahaprabhu says in 11th canto of Bhagavatam, there is full description of the devotional service of Navayogendras. There is a beautiful conversation between Maharaj Nimi and Navayogendras, and the wonderful lessons, wonderful description of pure devotional service given by Navayogendra. It is unparalleled. These Navayogendras, because they associated with Brahmaji, they understood the real meaning of Upanishads. Otherwise, Upanishads, they look very impersonal. That's why the Jnanis, they study Upanishads, the Vedas, because it is easy to give a impersonal interpretation. But Navayogendras, when they heard the explanation of pure devotional service on Upanishads from Brahmaji, they became devotees. They wanted to go to Dwarka. and they want to enter the abode of the Lord. But finally, they went to Rangakshetra. Mahaprabhu continues. So there are two types of impersonal Brahman worshippers. One is Brahma Upasaka, other is Moksha Akankshi. So Moksha Akankshi means one who desires liberation. Moksha Akankshi is also of three types. So Brahma Upasaka is also of three types, and Moksha Akankshi is also of three types. Mumukshu, Jivan Mukta, and Prapta Swarupa. Mumukshu means one who desires to be liberated. That is Mumukshu. Second is Jivan Mukta, who is already liberated. And Prapta Swarupa, that means he has realized his Swarupa, realized Brahman. Then again Mahaprabhu says, there are many people who worship, who desire liberation, and for that purpose they worship the Supreme Lord. Because without worshipping Supreme Lord, you cannot achieve liberation. Mumukshavo ghora rupan hitva bhut patin atha narayan kala shanta bhajanti hi anusuyabha. Those people who are desiring liberation, they give up worship of all the devtas and they worship Supreme Lord, Narayana Kala Shanta. Because without worship of the Supreme Lord, nobody can achieve liberation. Mahaprabhu continues. Now Mahaprabhu describes about Mumukshu, then Jivan Mukta, and Prapta Brahma. He says Mumukshus, if they are fortunate enough to get association of devotees, then their dormant devotional service arises in their heart. That is very, very important. Whether you are a Jnani, whether you are a Karmi, whether you are a worshipper of Devatas, unless you associate with devotees, you cannot get devotion. It comes in the third canto of Bhagavatam, second canto of Bhagavatam, third chapter, when Shukdev Goswami starts explaining various Devata worshippers. If you want this, worship this. If you want this, you worship that Devata. You want good health, Surya, wealth, Kuvera, good wife, Uma, good husband, Shiva. So many things he said. Parikshit Maharaj, he gets his question. At which stage these demigod worshippers will become Krishna worshippers? Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami says it doesn't happen like that. Unless they associate with devotees of the Lord, they will never become devotees of Krishna. Yad bhagavata sangataha etavaneva yajtam iha nishraya sodaya bhagavati achalo bhavo yad bhagavata sangata. Only by association of devotee one can get devotion. Similarly, Mahaprabhu describes here, unless a jnani gets association of devotee, he will not become a Krishna bhakta. His dormant Krishna consciousness will not awaken. And in this way, when they come to devotional service, they give up their desire for liberation and they engage in devotional service of the Lord. Prabhupada again gives the example of four Kumaras, then Shukadeva Goswami, then Navayogendras. They gave up their desire for liberation. They became devotees of Krishna. Prabhupada writes, the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to attract all types of men, even those who desire other than pure devotional service. Whatever you want, come to Krishna. Akama, sarvakamo va, mokshakama udarati, tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whatever your desire may be, also if you have no desires, you want mukti, you have all the desires, come to Krishna. Special feature of Krishna Bhakti is, if you go to Krishna for material things, Krishna will give and he will purify. He'll purify the desire. Satyam nishatyarthitam arthito nrinam naiva tadoyat punararthitam yataha swayam vidatte bhajatam anichyatam ichchapithanam nijapada pallavam. It is true, if you go to Krishna with material desires, Krishna will give. Arthitam arthito nrinam. But he'll give in such a way that Na punar arthitam. You will never ask for the same thing because Krishna purifies the heart. Mahaprabhu continues. He quotes a verse from Hari Bhakti Sudhoday. It is described that in this verse, O great learned devotee, although there are many faults in this material world, there is one good opportunity, that is association of devotees. That association brings such a great happiness that everything else becomes stale in front of this. The desire for Brahman becomes insignificant. By associating with great sage Narada, even Shaunakadi rishis, they gave up their desire for Brahman. They engaged in devotional service. So that's how in the beginning, Shaunakadi rishis, they were also impersonalists. They got association of Narada. Then later they got association of Suta Goswami. They became devotees. So simply by meeting Krishna or getting special favor of Krishna or favor of devotees of Krishna, one gives up the desire for liberation. And this devotee just wants to serve Krishna. Mahaprabhu quotes another verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He says, in this Dwaraka Dham, I am attracted by Supreme Lord Krishna. Simply by seeing him, I am feeling such great happiness. I am thinking I am wasted so much of my time. So this is a devotee. It's the Jnani who becomes devotee. He thinks I have wasted my time in Jnana and Brahman Mukti. This is waste of time. That's why for a devotee, it is impersonal. Brahman is hellish. Prabodhanand Saraswati says, Kaivalyam narakayate dridashpur akasha puspayate durdantendriya kala sarpa patali prothatadam strayate. Kaivalya, impersonal liberation, is hellish for a devotee. Not at all interested in impersonal Brahman. Rupa Goswami gives a conversation between Mukti Devi and a devotee in Padyavali. So this devotee is doing his sadhana, bhajan, eyes closed. And because a devotee worships Krishna, Mukti becomes a servant of this devotee. Mukti swayam mukulit anjali sevyate asman. Bilav Mangal Thakur says, after I have started experiencing the bliss of pure devotion, Mukti Devi stands in front with folded hands, ready to serve me. So this devotee, as he's doing his bhajan, Mukti appears and he suddenly realizes somebody has come. He opens his eyes. He sees a lady standing in front. Tatvam, who are you? So she says, Mukti Rupagata Asmi Bhavati. I am Mukti Devi. Kasmada Kasmadiha. How come suddenly you have come here? So this devotee says, Twam. So Mukti Devi says, Twam Krishna Deva Smaranena Bhavato Dasi Padam Prapita. Are you are serving Krishna, I become your Dasi. So this devotee says, Dure Tishta Managanagasi. Oh, abominable one, stay away. So Mukti Devi becomes little shocked. Katham Puryadanariyamai, what wrong I have done? You are giving me all gali. Devotee says, Tvad Gandhan Nijanama Chandan Rasale Pasya Lopo Bhavet. Just by your smell, my desire to serve Krishna will go away. So a devotee, he finds mukti as very, very distasteful because service is not there. After describing about mumukshu, who becomes devotees in association of devotees, there are two types of jivan mukta. Jivan mukta ne kase dui bheda jani, bhakte jivan mukta jnane jivan mukta mani. There are many people who are liberated in this lifetime. Even in this lifetime, Jivan Mukta. One does not have to leave the body to get liberated. While staying in this body, one can be liberated. Jivan Mukta aneka se dui bheda jani. But one becomes two types. In two ways, one can become Jivan Mukta. Bhakte Jivan Mukta Jnane Jivan Mukta Mani. Either one becomes liberated by practice of bhakti or by practice of jnana. So when a person becomes bhakti jivan mukta, by practice of devotional service, if one becomes devotee, what happens? He becomes more and more attracted to Krishna's qualities. He likes to serve Krishna. And if a person is becomes liberated by jnana, then what happens? Ultimately, he falls down because of his offensive mentality. What is the example? Yanyarvindaksha vimuktamanina tvayasthabhava vishuddha buddhaya आरुह्य कृच्छ्रेण परम पदम तथा patantyathanaadritushmadangraya. Devtas are offering prayers to Krishna in the womb of Mother Devaki. O lotus-eyed Lord, there are people who think themselves to be liberated. Vimukta manina. वो मान लेते हैं कि वो मुक्त हो गए, but they are not liberated because त्वयि asthabhava avishuddha buddhaya, because they are not connected to you. Because they are not practicing bhakti, their intelligence is not pure, avishuddha buddhi. So they may rise to the highest levels of liberated state in this world. But patanti adha, still they fall down. Although they do severe penance, austerities, rise to spiritual level, but aruhya krishrena param padam patanti adha. They fall down. Because why they fall down? Anadrati vishmadangraya. Because they neglect the worship of your lotus feet, O my Lord. So that's how, if somebody is a liberated soul, he naturally becomes a devotee. He has to become. But if somebody is unfortunate, he does not take to the process of bhakti. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. Only a liberated being, after one becomes liberated, it is natural to get absorbed in bhakti of the Lord. Bilmangal Thakur, he describes, Mahaprabhu quotes this. Although I was a worshipper of impersonal Brahman, but I have nonetheless been forcibly turned. This is Bilmangal Thakur writing about Mukti Devi. So Mukti Devi is speaking this. As Bilmangal Thakur writes that verse, that Mukti Swayam Mukhitanjali Sevyate Asman. So Mukti Devi, she speaks that although I was worshipped by great monists and impersonal jnanis, but after I have been initiated in the path of Bhakti Yoga, I have forcibly been turned into a maid servant. And who has turned me into a maid servant? That cunning boy who is always joking with the gopis. That means by Krishna. So that is how Mukti Devi speaks. So there are Jnane Jivan Mukta and Bhakti Jivan Mukta. Mumukshu Jivan Mukta, and the last is Prapta Swarupa. Prapta Bhakti Bale Prapta Swarupa Divya Deha Pai Krishna Guna Krishna Hoya Bhaje Krishna Pai. Bhakti Bale. If somebody practices devotional service, then he attains a transcendental body even in this lifetime. One does not have to leave this body. One can get a transcendental body even in this lifetime. That is Prapta Swarupa. This Prapta Swarupa is actually when one worships Krishna, practices Bhakti Yoga, he gets a transcendental body. And in this way, after getting the transcendental body, Krishna Guna Krishna Hoya, Bhaje Krishna Pai, he gets absorbed in Krishna's qualities and worships Krishna's lotus feet. Mahaprabhu quotes a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th chapter, 2nd canto, 10th chapter, where the definition of mukti is described. What is mukti? Mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. Real liberation is when one is established in the original constitutional position. What is the original constitutional position? Jivera Swarupa Hoye Krishnera Nityadas. When somebody comes to this platform, he is already liberated. He says, by opposing Krishna consciousness, one becomes conditioned, one becomes fearful of Maya. And by executing devotional service, one becomes liberated from Maya. If you worship Krishna, you'll be liberated. If you don't worship Krishna, you'll be attached, entangled. Krishna बहिर्मुख होइया जीव भोग वांछा करे निकटस्थ माया तारे झापटिया धरे. Whether you enjoy sense gratification or you want to be liberated by being disgusted with the world, ultimately both are material desires only. Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakali ashanta Krishna bhakta nisikama ateva shanta. Any desire other than serving Krishna is material desire. And a person who is not serving Krishna is always ashant. But a devotee, because he is serving Krishna always, he is shanta. And a devotee, when he is liberated, he becomes fearless. Mahaprabhu quotes another very famous word from Bhagavatam. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatasya viparyaya smriti tanmaya yato bhuja bhajetam bhaktyaikaisham gurudeva tatma. What is fear? When we see something separate from the Lord. Dvitiya abhinivesh. When the mind thinks that this is mine and this is not mine. Nothing is ours. Everything is Krishna's. Everything comes from Krishna. Everything is property of Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. But under the influence of material energy, when one is overpowered by this Maya, one becomes fearful. Bhayam. Ishad apetasya viparyaya asmriti. Asmriti means he forgets his relation with the Supreme Lord. He thinks, I have no relation with the Lord. And in this mistake, in this condition, one becomes fearful. Tan mayayato buddha abhajetam. To nullify this mistake, one serves the Supreme Lord. Buddha. Buddha means intelligent. Intelligent person will worship the Supreme Lord by following the instructions of spiritual master. He'll worship Supreme Lord. He'll worship the deity. And in this way, he'll practice pure devotional service. Otherwise, it is not so easy to overcome Maya. A liberated being who is a devotee of the Lord, who is fearless. A person who is conditioned by material nature, he is always fearful. Daivi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Mahaprabhu continues. He says, one does not attain liberation without rendering devotional service. If bhakti is not there, one can never achieve mukti. Another very famous verse quoted by Brahmaji in 10th canto, 14th chapter, 4th verse. Brahmaji says, "Oh my dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the only auspicious path. Shreya sritim bhakti mudasya te vibho klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdhaye." The path of Gyan, it is a path full of troubles. Klishyanti. If one gives up the path of bhakti and takes to the path of Jnana, he undergoes great trouble. Klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdhaye. And what he gains? Tesham asau kleshala eva shishyate. The path is troublesome, the end is troublesome. It is like sthula tushavaghātinām. If somebody beats the empty husks of rice, nothing will come out. If somebody is beating the empty husk, devoid of rice, it is all fruitless. So therefore, a devotee who is not, a jnani who is not practicing bhakti yoga will not get the result. Mahaprabhu quotes this verse again, Yanya Arvindaksha. So that's how the process of jnana, if it is not added with bhakti, it is useless. Process of yoga, if it is not added with bhakti, it will not give the result. Pureha bhuman bahvo apya yoginaha tvadarpiteha nija karma labdhaya. Many yogis in the past, because they worshipped you, they achieved perfection. Because one of the limbs of bhakti, Ashtanga yoga is dharana and dhyana. In dharana and dhyana, what is meditated on? Vaikuntha lila abhidhyanam. The yogi meditates on the form of the Lord. Kapila describes in the third canto in great detail. Jnana, devoid of bhakti, will not give the result. Yoga, devoid of bhakti, will not give the result. Naishkarmyamapyachyuta bhava varjitam na shobhate jnanamalam niranjanam. Na shobhate, doesn't look good. It will not give the result. So that's how it is. So very wonderful. Mahaprabhu quotes another verse. Jayesham purusham shakshat atma prabhamam ishwaram na bhajanti avajananti sthanat bhrashtat patanti atham. If somebody follows varna ashrama but does not worship the Lord, it is useless. So whatever you do, if you are not adding bhakti in that, it is useless. Either you are a karmi or a jnani or a yogi. Bhakti is the primary ingredient. It is the active catalyst. If it is not there, everything else is useless. Tapasvino dana parayashasvino manasvino mantra vido sumangalaha shemam na vindanti vinaya darpanam tasmai subhadra sravase namo namaha. Whatever you may be a great tapasvi, charitable, very famous, very intelligent. Whatever you do, shemam na vindanti. It will be useless for you. So therefore, bhakti is not dependent on any of this process. All the processes are dependent on bhakti. Anvaya vyatirekabhyam. Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Not else. Bhakti is there, other things not there, no problem. You can get the result of all the other paths by practicing bhakti yoga. Yat karmabhir, yat tapasa, jnana vairagyashayat, yogena dana dharmena shreyobhiritarayrapi, sarvam madbhakti yogena madbhakto labhate anjasa, swarga apavarga madhama kathanchid yadi vanchati. Whatever result one obtains by karma, by tapasya, jnana, vairagya, yoga, dana, dharma, or any other path, my devotee achieves everything by practice of bhakti. What do you want? You want swarga? I'll give you swarga. You want mukti? I'll give you mukti. You want my abode? You will come to my abode. So that's how the path of devotional service, it is all powerful. And a person who is liberated, he naturally engages in service of the Lord. They are attracted. They serve the Lord. In this way, Mahaprabhu describes there are 6 kinds of Atmaram who are engaging in service of the Lord. Who are the 6 kinds? 3 types of Brahma Upasaka and 3 types of Moksha Akankshi. Brahma Upasakas are Sadhaka, then Brahmamay and Prapta Brahma. Sadhaka means he's the beginner. Brahmamay, who is absorbed in meditation on Brahman, and Prapta Brahma, who has attained Brahman. And there are 3 kinds of Moksha Akankshi. Moksha Akankshi are Mumukshu, Jivan Mukta, and Prapta Swarupa. One who desires liberation. one who is liberated even in this life, and Prapta Swarup, one who has realized his Swarupa. All these kinds of Atmaram, they render devotional service to Krishna ultimately. Then only they achieve perfection. And the words Munaya and Shanta, Atmaramascha Munaya, Nirgranthapi Urukrame Kurvanti Hetuki Bhakti, Tham Bhuta Gunohari. So the words Munaya, Atmaramascha Munaya, and in this previous words Shanta, they indicate that they are very much attached to Krishna. They meditate on Krishna. Nirgrantha. Nirgrantha means they have no ignorance about Krishna. And then Mahaprabhu gives the seventh explanation of this Atmaram verse. He says, the word cha indicates different meanings. And there is one meaning which is very important. Although the word Atmaramascha can be repeated 6 times, because the Atmaram is a very important word, but it is not mentioned. The cha is sufficient to give this repetition. And Mahaprabhu says, by aggregate use of the word cha, it is indicated that all the Atmarams and all the saints, they serve and worship Krishna. Then Mahaprabhu starts giving another 6 explanations of the Atmaram verse based on worshippers of super soul, those who are Antaryami Upasaks. So that we'll discuss next time. I'll stop here. I have some other class. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.